how to wake up from the matrix, the Maya, and shift into the new earth, 5D earth, or how to make the 5D shift. So, as you can see, all the videos, what I've talked about myself, about my life, to whatever extent, and about many topics that I've talked about, I have essentially mentioned about spiritual awakening, you know, and I have walked my spiritual path and I had my spiritual awakening last year, and I cannot go back to my job that I was doing. I cannot go back to the relationships that I had. I cannot look at the things in the same way that I was looking at them. It's literally, you disconnecting from one dimension and connecting more and more into another dimension within yourself. That is spiritual awakening. And I cannot, my soul doesn't allow me to go back. My soul, you know, wants me to talk about the experience that I have. And I'm sorry, God is going to make my life hell if I go back. You know, I cannot go back to the ego, to the known, to the matrix, to the Maya, which has programmed us to disconnect from our heart, from our soul, you know, and I know so much around spiritual awakening, you know, and I cannot help but talk about it, and talk about it, you know, and as I can see, it has been a year, and as I can see, um, I do get many interactions from you, and there are people who are interested in that, who wants to work with that, but yet there is still the portion of world that doesn't care. So whatever it is, but I cannot help but do what I'm supposed to do. I cannot help but do what I'm asked to do. It definitely hurts me, though it shouldn't, when I see that people are completely missing out. People are completely in their artificial world. Then they're so much into their ego, into their fear, into their insecurities, into their inferiority complexes, into their superiority complexes. Ego has both sides. You can check out my video, which has talked about inferiority complexes and superiority complexes. How they both are just different versions of ego. Okay, usually we think that inferiority usually we think that superiority complex is ego, but inferiority complex is also a kind of ego. So there are two parts of the ego, the two versions of the same ego, which is based on lack. So you can go and check out the video. So actually the problem, or people are actually running after desires, you know which has come from the ego. I also had a lot of desires, back then. I had also a lot of wishes back then, which came from the ego. you know for 4 or 5 years of my life, I was very sure as I quit my school, I will get into a very respectable job, civil services, because it is very socially acceptable, respectable. So I was trying to fill my lack, fill my ego with a respectable job. Okay, so I will be respected. I will be validated only when I get a respectable job. And I straight thought that for 4 years straight. And when I did, completed my school and I went into college, I I had the clash of timings with my coaching had a clash of timings with my college timings in theater. was, I loved theater. My my desire for joy had come more and more into me as I stepped into my spiritual journey, and as I started reading Enlightened Masters, and I started to step into the spiritual realm and connect more and more to my own real self. When I started doing that, I my choices changed. I looked for joy more than respect, more than validation from others. Eventually, I found that I can never get respect, validation from outside. They can never give me what they don't have themselves. So, so I didn't want to leave theater back then. It was my joy. I didn't want to leave theater, and I didn't. I always chosen joy, and here I am, sitting, doing what is my joy, doing what I know, doing what I have done for so many years. And I really do have something to give. And that's why I'm making this video. But it really pins my heart to see that not many are interested in these topics. Not many, you know, are questioning life. Not People are not even telling themselves that they are unhappy. I remember I had a word with one of my friend recently, and I told her that maybe the world is might go through lit endings which are not very great. The world might go through certain endings. um, as you know, it is already very clear with the climate change that is happening, everything, the wars that is happening in the Middle East. We know all of these things are happening already, and certain calamities may show up, nature may show up a wrath, you know and some endings are possible on the planet. So she said it's okay, she said it's fine. Some of us are really waiting on things to end. That's how miserable human beings have become. And rather than accepting that fact, Maya Matrix programs them to go and sit at the tables and talk about how interesting their life is, so that the other person knows that about you, or so that you can always sit at the table and not feel missed out. Everybody is supposed to show their fun part, everybody is supposed to show their interesting part. you know I don't know when friendships became sharing um, emotional and support to artificially showing how good their life is. You go to parties and to tell how you bought the Gucci bag that you bought the other day, and the problem is not in the Gucci bag. The problem is not with the money. No, problem is not that you're wealthy. You don't have to feel guilty for being wealthy or something like that, and that's not what I'm trying to say here. But what I'm trying to say here, that somewhere you are still in the Maya, still in the matrix, if you think that having that Gucci bag or having that wealth is everything, and there is nothing beyond it. I have had my spiritual awakening, and there are so many things beyond it. The real joy was never this. We think we want this, we think we like that, we think this is it, but this is something inside us which is a deeper intelligence, is what I call soul. Some people call it higher self, you know or higher self is also your future self. You are meant to grow into your higher self, you are meant to grow into your future self. And I have had my meetings with my higher self. I have not, never um, talked about this ever in any of my videos, but I know I have had an an encounter with my future self. I have had an encounter with my higher self. And I'm sorry. I want to turn into her. I'm sorry. I cannot go back to where society wants to take me. I cannot go back to how this Maya matrix is designed, to cut that cord between me and my future self, my higher self. I cannot go back to that. And I'm here to awaken you all because I have awakened and I cannot compromise with my soul. I cannot go back. I have to awaken you all because I have understood it's all love. I have understood we are all one, and you have no idea the power of collective. You have no idea. You have no idea what is the power of the collective. You have no idea. You have no idea. Maybe I am a manifestation of many of you, who wants to be awakened. And I am the manifestation for many of you because I have changed my dimension. I have changed my dimension from egoic mind to my higher self, to my soul, you know, and it knows already, it's already very perfect. But we have come here, we have gotten into another dimension, we got stuck with another lower dimension, that is our ego, but that is not a real self. It's time to awaken humanity because this is the time. We have all the resources that we have. If I look at my parents' generation, so I come from a very simple middle class family from India, from Bharat. I come from a metropolitan city of Bharat, and so my parents were born a decade after or so, after the independence of India, right? So you know that how Britishers left India. They left India in tatters, right? My parents had to really do things for survival all of their life so that they could give their kids, that survival. They looked for more. That was a little kind of a generation who really had to, move their hands and they really have to move their hands and legs, to get into that security of a family, to get into security of a job or a business. So they had to do what they had to do. But this generation, I cannot, my survival needs were taken care of. I knew I was always protected, you know, and I couldn't help but aspire for spirituality all my life. As soon as I left my 12th grade, I took up Bhagavad Gita and read it because I was looking for answers, because I never understood this Maya. I was always a very sensitive person. You are also, but you have closed on your sensitivity. Somehow I was able to maintain it. It has all been Shiva's grace in my life. I was never able to close on my sensitivity. People have called me weak for being sensitive. I myself have thought that I was a complete fool. In the world that is full of demons and full of, all kinds of people, why I cannot close my eyes and why I cannot close my heart. But I could just never help but ask questions, and I feel 10x more. When you go through spiritual awakening, you start feeling more, you know you know soul का language ही feeling है. So soul communicates in form of feelings. Thoughts, opinions, judgment are very egoic. For example, your soul sends you that feeling, that intuition of having water, of having food, so that your body is pacified, so that now you can live about your life, isn't it? That's why you feel sleepy, that's why you feel thirsty, that's why you feel hungry. It's an intuitive voice of your soul. Your soul wants you to live. You know, people who go for wish for suicide or go for suicide, they are completely disconnected from their intuition, have completely gone into their head, completely gone into their ego. That's why they choose what they choose. Suffering comes from here, and suffering is an illusion. Suffering is an illusion. Trust me, I know there was a time in my life when I read these things in the book, and I said, how suffering can be an illusion? It's very much real. I have this problem in my life. I have this problem in my life. How the suffering is an illusion? But I'm sorry, I have had my spiritual awakening, and literally, I feel what I say. Suffering is an illusion. It's time to come into contact with the laws of universe. It's time to, you know, open up our eyes and see how wrong, at least have critical eyes and see how things are. We are judging each other. It's not, we don't have to judge each other. You don't know what other's person trauma is. You know, what's what subconscious belief he has taken from his parents, from his peers. You don't know what he's going through. We don't have to judge each other. Let's be sensitive towards each other. But what we really need to do is to be critical towards systems. We need to analyze, you know, why our education system never teaches us about spirituality. They may still teach you about religion, but why not spirituality? Why they're teaching us about five senses? Why are they not teaching us about sixth sense? And are schools to be blamed? But who is making the school curriculum? Where this is coming from? They're all coming from a place of lower consciousness. Who is to be blamed? Why we are given foods, why we are given food products that have, higher shelf life with all those preservatives, emulsifiers that poisons our body. Why they don't want us to live? Because they can have profit. But if we don't live, how will we, if we don't function properly with our minds and brains, how will we ever get, how will we even strive to know about the truth? And one thing I really want to talk about, you don't have to have a spiritual awakening in the way that I had. I've talked about my journey a lot. It's not important that, God will not communicate with you in the same way that He communicated with me. You have your own desires, you are a bunch of your own karmas, you're a bunch of your own experiences, you're a bunch of your past lives. God is not going to communicate to you in the same way He communicated with me. You have to figure out your dance with the divine. There is no one rigid way. If there was, every enlightened person would have done it the same way. There is no one rigid way of doing things. There never was. You have to figure out your own dance with the divine. And trust me, if somebody tries to tell you that we know how to do it, and no, there is no one system, there is no one course. Just as schools mein hota hai na, we are having a one book, and we have to prepare that book, chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, and that's no, it's not logical. Connect with masters who are in connection with their intuition, who are in connection with their soul. They might help you certainly in some ways. But the best thing that I can tell you for a spiritual awakening, the best gift, the best tool that you have for a spiritual awakening, to strive for a spiritual awakening is only you. You have to ask yourself. And spirituality is not about morality. I know I talk about love a lot, that you have to, let's be sensitive to each other, let's love, love is the truth, this and that. But trust me, I was never a moral science kind of a person at all. When they told me in moral science book that I don't have to lie, I have to be honest, I never got that idea. I'm supposed to lie because if I'm not lying, there are a lot of other things that might get me into problem. So lying has actually, you know, safeguard me at many times in my life. You know, when I had to experiment with my life, I used lying because of certain situations, whatever. Lying is my favorite hobby. It's not a moral science thing, you know, and it's not a moral science thing that you have to love others. It's not. I have literally observed the laws of the universe. I've literally gone through a spiritual awakening, gone through a journey, I've gone through experiences, and I've come to that knowing. It's not even an understanding. I've come to that knowing, which already I knew. you know, it's difficult to explain. You can never love somebody, or you can never come into your love, you know, until you really awaken. you know it is a People, they try to be nice and stuff like that in front of other people. No, that is not spiritual awakening. I'm not telling you to go to be nice to with people and to help people. Sometimes helping people is a distraction. You are trying to distract yourself, by helping other people. I did that too. You can say that superhero syndrome. you know um, I was very imbalanced. I was very much in my feminine energies. I never knew. Of course, I had learned it with my own experience. I have to learn, I have to walk my spiritual path, I have to do experiments. You know, I have to literally go through a death. I literally have to go through multiple deaths. I was, you know, how they say death and life both are together. I was going through a death of this every time, but every time I was coming into a rebirth from my soul, from my heart. So naturally, you will start feeling love and sensitivity, and you can just never go back to ego. You know, you can never go back to ego after that. You have to, you have to skip this dimension. You have to come out from this dimension and step into this one. And that's how you awaken from the Maya, from the matrix, and you enter into the 5D earth, into the new earth. You have to find out your path with the divine. You have to sit with yourself. I never meditated all my life, honestly. Only I had my spiritual awakening last year. I still started meditating somewhere, you know, and I'm trying to go into that direction as well. I'm trying to learn more and more. I'm trying to touch more and more dimensions. I have entered into the 5D and I am moving more and more into the 5D, into the new earth. I have shifted my dimensions. My old self has gone through a death. I have learned my dance with the divine. You have to figure out your dance with the divine. Please have a look at all of my videos. You know, if you want to, if you're thinking or learning something about spirituality, there are a whole lot of spiritual masters out there who can help you right now. They're coming up, they're trying to help you, right? So it's as simple as you walking towards your real joy. New Earth is about you walking towards your real joy, your real purpose, who you really are. If you feel, only if you feel that resonance with me, if you want, I will only be a medium of God to help you. You know, I've come into the new earth, I've come into the 5D earth, and I know I'm just a hand of God. ओनली इफ़ यू फील रेजोनेंस। या मैं बिल्कुल नहीं, मैं बहुत ज़्यादा मानती हूँ कि किसी मंदिर में मैं तभी जाती हूँ जब मुझे बुलाया जाता है, यू नो। दैट इज़ द 5D earth, दैट इज़ द न्यू अर्थ. You know how much to eat, you know where to go, you know what to do on your own. You are not working according to the people of your family, you're not working on the society, you're not working according, you're just only working according to God. Your intuition knows you're connected more to your real self. And that is the spiritual awakening that I had. So, only if you feel that resonance with me, if you feel that I can be a medium of God, you know, for you to help you in some ways. And I'm also available for one on one sessions. But before that, I would really, really ask you to go through the videos to really understand whether you really want to do this or not. You know, are you, because it requires some tough stuff, okay? Spirituality, you really have to require some tough stuff to come into spirituality, to come into the new earth. It's like you really go through a death. Okay, I remember. I don't want to scare you. It's fine. So yeah, it really requires some tough stuff. Okay, if you have to come into the 5D earth, to come into the new earth, but that's what you want. Trust me, that's what you want. You may think right now that you want this, that, but trust me, that's not your real self. I have gone through those illusions. I've broken those illusions for myself. Okay, you can also break it for you. I'm very sure. Just make sure that you start consuming the right kind of things. You know, you know, slightly try to change your, especially the videos that you watch. You know, the things that you consume your life into. Start asking yourself, what do you really want? So, if you feel a resonance with me, you can. I will be available for one-on-one sessions, and yeah. But before that, please go through my videos. See if this is what you want. You know, it requires some tough stuff, right? And if you feel resonance with any other master, then please, it is all about you. Your dance, your dance with the divine. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you wake up from the matrix and enter into the new world. Thank you for watching.